And we do have something I want to share with you tonight on that, a new image of a tunnel tonight. So you're looking at this here, and you can see how wide it is. These images come from both the IDF and also Reuters journalists who were there to witness it. The tunnel spans 2.5 miles. It reaches more than 160 feet underground, and it is equipped with electricity, ventilation, and communication systems. It goes incredibly close to the Israeli border and can be used for large forces to move, right? You can see this isn't a narrow thing at all.
Beneath the bombed-out rubble of Gaza, a massive underground labyrinth. Newly released videos from the Israeli military claim to show the biggest Hamas tunnel in Gaza, 2.5 miles long, up to 164 feet deep, with electricity, ventilation, and communication systems. The IDF says the tunnel is wide enough for a large vehicle, even a makeshift railroad. CNN cannot independently verify these videos, claiming to show what the IDF calls Hamas's strategic infrastructure, hundreds of terror tunnel shafts throughout the Gaza Strip. The IDF on a mission to locate and destroy dozens of attack tunnel routes. Hamas made the unverified claim of building more than 300 miles of tunnels under Gaza, tunnels for smuggling goods, launching attacks, storing rockets and ammunition. And Israel says Hamas command centers hidden beneath homes.
Under this child's cot, not the baby's cot, we see a tunnel that was used for terror by Hamas.
Out front now, Daphne Richmond-Barak. She's an expert on Hamas tunnels and the author of Underground Warfare, also an assistant professor at Israel's Reichman University. And I really appreciate your taking the time, Professor. So when you look at the passageways of the tunnels, now we're looking at them much wider than the tunnels we've seen before. You can see a lot of people walking through together as opposed to that very narrow pathway of the other images that we've seen, even wide enough for vehicles. The IDF says even wide enough for a railroad, electricity, ventilation, communication, all of this. I mean, you spent a decade of your life studying tunnels like this entire system. What do you see here?
I see a tunnel that looks a whole lot like the tunnels that North Korea has dug into South Korea. This is what I see. I see something of a much higher level of sophistication, which you described, much wider, more resistant, stronger, dug not just by hand, but actually with the use of some sophisticated civilian boring equipment. So we're talking about tunnel warfare on a different level. And I see also, in addition to the influence of North Korea, kind of like the large tunnel enabling a massive invasion and infiltration into the country, I also see the hand of Iran here, which is a country that has deeply buried facilities. So it is very different from what Hamas has done with its underground tunnel network. But you can see that with Iran's help, Hamas has been able to dig deeper and better.
And so, you talk about the equipment, heavy boring equipment that would have been used. I know the IDF has shown what they say are some images of construction on this tunnel. This tunnel, though, where it's located, we understand, according to the IDF, it ends just about 1,000 feet from the Israeli border. A specific crossing, actually, the Erez crossing on the northern Israeli-Gaza border. So when you take into account what the tunnel is, when you talk about possibly being used for a large-scale invasion, and where you see it, then what does that layer of context tell you?
So a couple of things. I think you put it very, very well. It raises a lot of questions. The first thing that I can tell you is I am pretty sure that this is not the only tunnel of the like that Hamas has. Not all Hamas tunnels look like this one, but I presume that it has a dozen, I would say, of such kind of like more heavy duty tunnels. And now the next question that comes up is, okay, so what did Hamas really intend to do with this tunnel, right? It's obviously a very important military asset that was well concealed and came very close to Israel's border. So I see two options. Number one, this is a tunnel that was actually used, or some portion of it, or some variation on this tunnel was used on October 7th itself to enable this massive infiltration of over 3,000 Hamas fighters. I mean, these are some of the numbers. We don't know the exact number. We know it's a very high number. And then for them to go on foot into Israel, I would find it very surprising that it didn't use any kind of cross-border tunnel. So maybe this was one of those. But I think another order of questioning would come to say, okay, if this wasn't used, then what was Hamas's plan? Was it to use this tunnel and make it operational, because it's obviously quasi-operational right now, and make it usable during the war, during the operation, to carry out another massive infiltration or more kidnappings and more killings? Meaning it's either one of these two options. Because of exactly what you said, the fact that it's coming so close to Israel's border, I see these two scenarios. And I presume that Israel will uncover in the coming days more such tunnels.